I am an ASAL person.
But remember, nominee,
Yes.
that you have not been nominated because you are from an ASAL part of Kenya. You've been nominated because you're a Kenyan, and you must demonstrate suitability to handle this docket on behalf of the people of Kenya, not the ASALs. Okay?
True, Mr. Speaker, I was only answering because they said ASAL may serve, so I was assuring the person that it's okay.
Now, there are some issues from the public before I come to one or two questions. One person asks, given the grades that you got at secondary school, how did you end up studying for a degree?
I answered it.
Yes, I'm just reading to you what the public is asking. Okay. The second one is, given the recent suspension of Uganda's milk products from entering the Kenyan market due to disputes over quality and standards, what legislative amendments or policies would you advocate to resolve such trade barriers and strengthen economic ties within the East Africa? Part of this falls within the trade docket, but you can answer. The second one, with the increased security concerns along the Kenya-Somalia border, particularly with the resurgence of Al-Shabaab activities, how do you leverage existing legislation like the National Security Council Act and propose new laws to enhance security collaboration among East African countries while ensuring free movement of people and goods? The next one, the disparities in economic development between Kenya and some EAC member states, such as Burundi and South Sudan, are significant. Would you propose any legislative measures to ensure equitable distribution of resources from shared regional projects such as those stipulated under the EAC protocol on the establishment of the East African Monetary Union? Well, there are many. Answer those first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I feel the issues that are raised here does not only apply to my ministry, if appointed, it also applies to other ministries. Like if you speak of milk, milk is under food production. It's also under livestock. It cuts across trade. It's also part of finance. So once we are on board, if appointed, or if approved by this committee, those are the issues that we will engage all our technocrats in agriculture, in finance, in any other relevant department to come up with a concrete policy and a framework that would guide. And the same applies to security that is there in Somalia. The Ministry of Defense will be involved. The Ministry of Internal Affairs will be involved. So all those stakeholders will be part of the solution to that. And the same affects the disparity of economic states, where we'll also have a Ministry of Finance, the technocrats in finance, economists in finance, will all, and the economists will all come and put their brains together and come up with a concrete solution. And of course, a way forward through that consultative forum.
I think I'll pick one or two more. Somebody asks, with counties like Turkana, Marsabit, and Wajir facing severe drought, what legislative measures do you propose to institutionalize drought response mechanisms, such as amendments to the National Drought Management Authority Act, to ensure long-term food security in these regions? The other one that I can pick out, because some are repetitions, is resource-based conflicts over water and pasture, such as those witnessed in the Turkana and West Pokot border regions, have escalated due to drought. What would you consider, would you consider proposing legislation for community-based natural resource management and conflict resolution frameworks, possibly through amendments to the Land Act to formalize resource sharing agreements? Can you answer that? Somebody is asking about the stalled Kainuku Bridge in Turkana. I think that's not your docket. Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On counties like Turkana and Marsabit, and amendment on response to drought, actually what is happening is, as I said earlier, we need a deliberate and team-based solution to these recurring issues, so that we put ways of a framework that would enhance food production, enhance water harvests, enhance alternative livelihoods, enhance value addition to this community, so that we reduce the effect of drought within the acts. And that one means all the ministries concerned, all the partners concerned, all the stakeholders concerned must put their brains together and come up with a long-lasting solution to what has been recurring. Now, on conflict of water and under pasture along Turkana and the other areas, the pastoral areas, actually true. If we borrow an initiative that we went one time when I was a CC for Turkana to the Uganda, and we found a very big dam called Kobebe that is supplying water all year round. I think it is time we adopt a solution that would run the citizens of this country with their livelihood all year round, in the sense that the dams are put, this water that is just running around, I mean the water that is flowing down would be captured somewhere where it can be utilized by pastoralists, it can be utilized for pasture, it can also be utilized for food production by the very communities that are vulnerable when this strikes. So I think for me, it needs back to stakeholders engagement, consultation of all the key actors in this field to make sure we put a long-lasting solution to what the communities are suffering from. And also in situation where we go cross-border, in terms like when the community moves from this area to the other area looking for pasture, we need, as an institution of government, to move ahead of our citizens and lobby for safety and lobby for these things, so that when they encroach those zones, they are not attacked or they are not rebelled, causing deaths. So.
Good. Let me ask you one question, nominee, or two. Do you believe in East African integration?
As at now, I believe, because it's about the impression. In the sense that if...
What do you mean, impression?
Sometimes people tend to judge a particular thing before they get into it. I think where there's a deliberate attempt, Mr. Speaker, to have it realized, we will all get this realized. Because the parties that are there are just within the neighborhood. We can't avoid the neighborhood. We will at any time engage the neighborhood. So for that matter, and for you to be peaceful, your neighbor must be peaceful. For you to grow economically, your neighbor must be growing. So, and because there's a cross-cutting issues, these crossing issues must be put together for a full realization of East Africa Community Federation.
If you find favor and become our minister or CS in charge of East Africa, we already have protocols for a customs union, for a free market, and a protocol for free movement of people, goods, and services. Take people. If you go to our courts today, every single day you'll find the Ugandans being charged for being in Kenya illegally. You go to Uganda, Kenyans are in jail in Uganda for entering Uganda illegally. Tanzania, same thing, and all over. If you find favor and become our CS, what are you going to do to help achieve the implementation of the protocol on free movement of people, goods, and services, particularly people, so that you do not cross into a country where you have a protocol for free movement and you are bundled and thrown into jail for being in that country illegally?
Mr. Speaker, if I win the favor of this committee and be appointed as a CS for East Africa Community, the issue of custom union and free movement are within the 4 pillars of East Africa Community. So, and having it as a pillar must also embrace the spirit of the will within the member states to implement anything that has been agreed upon. So for effective implementation of this, effective realization of these pillars, then every member state must make a deliberate attempt within their own political governance to make sure these things are implemented to the best of the people who are crossing, to the best of the business that's being carried across the border. So for me, I feel laws must be, a legal framework must be put on board. The infrastructure that's supposed to be facilitative must be put in place.
The legal framework is already there.
Then the deliberate intentions to implement from the partner states must also be negotiated, because it is one thing to pass, it is the other thing to get the political will of a country to implement what has been passed. So I think it is a matter of lobbying, matter of consulting, matter of arbitrating if possible, to make sure what has been passed is implemented to the letter.
A small one or two mundane questions to you. Have you ever been adversely mentioned in any integrity-related reports or investigations?
No, I haven't.
Do you hold any leadership position in any political party in Kenya?
As it is, no.
As it was?
Yeah, but I resigned.
Okay. Tell us your net worth.
It's 100 million.
100 million, which you said is family
It's for
wealth.
all of us.
It's for all of us, including me.
Yes, if you are
Okay. Okay, nominee. Your papers have been checked against what we have. They have been found in order. And the few memoranda that were there against you, actually, in fact, only one, and you responded, so we release you to go back to your duties.
Mr. Speaker, there is the bit of the well that I need to clarify a bit on livestock.
It is not an issue. We are okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to appreciate your guidance in moderating and protecting me. I would also want to appreciate the mutual conversation we've had with the committee. And if Almighty God that began with me will give you favor to see me through in this, I'm telling you, committee, you will be writing history in this Kenya. You will be appointing the first Turkana woman since independence. So please be part of the history.
As we look forward to the possibility of writing that history, I want to constantly encourage you. You are not going to be a minister because you are Turkana. You are going to be a minister because if we find favor, your competence and your ability to serve each and every Kenyan from Vanga to Kibish, from Lamu to Malaba, everywhere in this country. And now you'll go beyond. Okay. You must contribute towards the integration of East Africa. Some of us believe, dream, and live East African integration.
Thank you.
Thank you. The sergeant will show you the way out. Have a good day. Yes. Members, you have saved 10 minutes, and that is the time that you'll have for your short break as they rearrange the room, and you agreed to go and have something out there. So let's go and do that.